Good evening and welcome from Star FM Stadium in Townsville. Tony Parsons joined by Mark Roble. Tonight, the first game is the ladies' game between the Townsville Flames and the Gladstone Port City Power. Mark Roble, very good evening.
Good evening, Tony. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. A couple of milestones tonight. One of those, Lisa Brennan, chalking up game 100 for the Flames tonight.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm surprised it's only game 100, Tony. Like, she's been around a long time. Went and played in Siebel for a little bit, played in the Waratah League in New South Wales for a little while as well. So that's why it's probably taken her that long to get to the 100.
And Hayley Andrews, last game for the Flames, last game in town for a little while. She's off to college?
Yeah, so she's off to Portland, flies out tomorrow morning actually. So she'll be looking forward to hopefully a good last game for the Flames. She will come back for the finals should the Flames get through that stage. She's going over to do some summer school to get herself ready for college year. But Mike, Coach St. Marie's, talking to him before the game, tells me she'll be back come finals time.
Now, here 2 weeks ago, a couple of Saturday nights ago, they were given a bit of a lesson by Southern District's ladies. On the road last week, though, 2 from 2.
Yeah, bounced back really well. Look, they obviously, something just wasn't quite right that night against Spartans. You know, full credit to the Spartans the way they played, but I know that they weren't real happy with those performances and went and rectified that. Good win against Logan, and then came out and just blew Ipswich away in the first quarter. You know, Ipswich worked back into that game a little bit, but the damage was done early by a hot start from the Flames.
And it was interesting that the week before, the hot start burnt them in the first term against Southern District. So that was a complete 180, on that front. Yeah,
look, it was, and that's how the Flames have been starting most games, in that positive way. You know, that Districts game was the one that was a bit of that outlier. So I'm sure that, you know, Coach, talking to Mike earlier, you know, nothing's changed for them, their formula. They'll be trying to ram the ball down Gladstone's throat, trying to push it hard, get the ball through hands. You know, Hayley will be starting tonight in her last game before she takes off. They've just done a little bit of rotation with the starters. And speaking with Brady Walmsley, the assistant coach for the Power, because you know, Ray was a little bit tied up earlier, but Brady told me that, you know, their biggest challenge is obviously trying to get the tempo right. You know, they know they can't run with the Flames. They know they've got to try and slow the game down. We'll see, you know, some change-ups in D from them. You'll see some zones and some presses and some things like that. And their accountability is just about trying to make sure they stay in the contest and hopefully be in the contest come the fourth quarter.
All right, so at this stage, not seeing or not hoping to see what we saw a couple of weeks ago from Townsville, one would expect that a comfortable Townsville win tonight is what you would expect, but they're never ever won on paper.
No, they're not. Look, the Flames have only had one loss for the season as opposed to Gladstone's one win for the season. You know, their solitary win against Toowoomba, and I think they're aiming tonight to try and stop an 8-game losing streak. So, you know, they'll be looking at tonight, but then, you know, they had a reasonably close game last week against Cairns at home. So, you know, they might have one eye ahead of going towards tomorrow night. But we'll see. You know, you always want to try and get that first game on a road trip, so they'll throw everything they've got here.
And we're about to get underway. This is the first of a 2-game double for the Gladstone teams. They're here tonight in Cairns tomorrow night. Tip-off underway, and first possession is with Gladstone as they work down the floor.
I'm looking forward to seeing Atkinson go tonight for Gladstone. You know, she came off a WNBA trial camp with the Washington Mystics, so, you know, she's definitely got some potential to come in here and do good things in this league.
And first rebound of the night is Hayley Andrews. There's the first foul on Hayley Andrews. Darcy Garvin grabbing that rebound at the other end. Darcy Garvin, who was someone who was very quiet here 2 weeks ago, by her standards.
Yeah, she was. And since then, she's been named in that Opals squad to go away to China in about another month. So she'll be looking to try and get peak form for that.
Cox, they go right to Goodchild. And then it bounces off hands back into hers. She puts up the shot. It misses. And Nanea is down with the rebound for Gladstone. And they have possession once again as Frost has it, taking on Goodchild, and they'll nearly turn it over. Yeah, it did touch the line. And the turnover there against Nanai. And it'll be a Townsville ball through Lisa Brennan from the side.
So for the Flames, I think one of their focuses is going to have to be on Frost as well. She's shown to be a good shooter so far, so they'll need to make sure they know where she is.
Goodchild along the baseline. Andrews gets the first points of the night with a nice 3-point bucket from deep in the left corner. And now Gladstone with a turnover. Garvin off the window for 2, and all of a sudden it's 5-zip after just a minute of play.
Yeah, Flames trying to set the tone early, getting straight up into their full court press.
Down the floor they come, and that drops in. It's a 3-2 to Frost. And Frost gets the first points to Gladstone for the night. Now here's Goodchild from deep for 3. It's long, rebound with Andrews. Kicks it back out to Cox. And the pass was intended, I think, for Goodchild. Brennan sort of got the shark hands in there and turned it over.
Yeah, we saw the first signs of a zone there from Gladstone, whether it was off the O board. It was hard to tell on the first possession because it was a quick transition shot, but I'm sure we'll see changes up aplenty from them.
Long pass down the floor from Frost. The shot from Bailey didn't drop, and Townsville with the rebound. Andrews quickly finds Cox, who goes inside to Garvin. Nice ball rotation, and the 2 points to Goodchild.
Yeah, look, that's the running game we've seen plenty from the Flames, but it's good to see here Gladstone not hesitating against this press and breaking it down with a pass.
Although they do turn it over there. Nanai turned it over to Brennan. Cox is down the floor. Goodchild with another 2 off the window under some pressure from Frost, but it was always going to be a long odds, and there's a foul on Haley Andrews.
And we're seeing a very quick timeout called here by Coach Cooper. He's obviously already seeing the warning signs with the Flames getting into that running game. You know, I think the Flames are probably prepared right now to stay in that press, allow Gladstone to try and make those long passes, because it means that the game's going to be played at a faster tempo. So, you know, it's sort of sitting with them perfectly for that first couple of minutes.
The other news this week, it's more WNBL related, but Stella Beck announced as a signing for the Townsville.
Yeah, look, thankfully I'm part of the Fire coaching staff, and you know it's great to see Stella added to our squad. You know, we're up to 9 now, and we've got one more spot to fill, but we've been tossing, and you know Claudia and I and Richard, the GM, have been having lots of discussion over the last month as to what the best way to go was. Do we take an import guard and try and find another Aussie big, or do we take an unrestricted guard, and go and get an import big? And in the end, Stella came across the radar, came here and wanted to play QBL here. Good link with Michaela Cox with the New Zealand experience. So we really think that she can come and add a little bit of a different dimension to our squad. She comes from good pedigree coming through the St. Mary's program, and we've, over the last couple of years, seen Kate Gaze, Lauren Nicholson come out of that program and immediately have an impact in the WNBL.
All right, back underway out of the timeout. Here's Frost, Nanai. They seem to be the two focal points of this Gladstone side. The foul called on Brennan, and it'll put Nanai to the line.
Yeah, she certainly had the hands on the ball a lot early, so it's, I think, what the Flames are doing a good job, though, is keeping the ball out of Atkinson's hands so far. She hasn't really got herself, any input into the game yet.
Here's Nanai at the foul line, makes the first of 2. The second one bobbles around and drops out, so it's 9-4 Townsville, early stages of the first term. Goodchild, Cox.
Gladstone's fallen back into this 3-2 zone here.
Garvin deep in the right corner, Cox. Inside she goes to Brennan, top of the keyway. Andrews for 3. It's wide of the mark, off Townsville last. Do they save it from going out of bounds? No, they don't. It'll be a Gladstone ball from the side.
So Flames sticking in this press here, trying to keep the tempo of the game up.
Here's Amanda Frost on the baseline on Brennan. Does well to get it to Nanai. Back outside. Atkinson drives. And the shot doesn't drop, but they get the rebound. And
Kelman Poto makes the 2 and will go to the line here.
So 9-3 out of the timeout. It's now 9-6. Could be 9-7 after this foul shot. So that's sort of worked for them.
Yeah, look, it was obviously Ray wanted to try and get a couple of specific instructions across. We see the first sub for Townsville here. Beck coming in for Andrews.
Kelman Poto with the foul shot. So it makes it 9-7 now, Townsville. 2-point lead, 7:05 left first term. And Cox with possession for Townsville. Inside she goes. Garvin pulls up at the foul line, makes the 2.
And look, with Gladstone into that zone, I think that's the target they'll be looking to try and find Garvin at that high post area and seeing what action happens out of there.
Atkinson left with a good look and made the 3. It's a 1-point game now in favour of Townsville, 11-10. Beck brings the ball down the floor. Goodchild back outside to Beck. Now Cox fakes with the shot, goes inside to Garvin along the baseline. Back outside, here's Goodchild. Shot clock is into single figures as Cox shoots the 3. It's short. Looked to be off Gladstone last, but they get possession. I'm with Michaela Cox on that.
Look, those calls will even themselves out, I'm sure, Tony.
Absolutely,
So,
yeah. We won't start too early. All right. As from deep is Atkinson, doesn't drop. Rebound, Goodchild. She's harassed and then turns it over ultimately. As Frost has it now. Interesting. She's left-handed, Amanda Frost.
Yeah, look, it's. I think Gladstone probably disappointed with that. They worked hard to scramble and get after the ball, and then just throw a lazy turnover. So
Brennan shoots the 3. It bobbles around, doesn't drop, and the rebound for the visitors is with Kelman Poto. He gives it off to Nanai, back to Kelman Poto. And here's Frost, the long 3. She's got a feel for it. There's another one, 13-11. So out of the timeout, it's a 10-2 run.
yeah, look, they've slowed the transition game down for the Flames and executed pretty well on the offensive end themselves.
Here's Michaela Cox. Just pulls up inside. Doesn't drop. Garvin gets the rebound, gets the 2. She got fouled, so she'll go to the line. It's tied up at 13.
I think the foul's off the ball there on the rebounding contest on the weak side, and Atkinson called for that foul, so it'll be Flames ball from the baseline here.
So we're tied up at 13, almost the midway point of the first term. And Stella Beck inbound for Townsville. Goodchild. Cox inside. Garvin back outside for 3. Beck. It's long. Rebound is with Atkinson. Garvin got a touch on it and then gave away a foul.
Yeah, look, just saw the little fumble from Atkinson, and Garvin couldn't help herself but to try and go after that loose ball.
Atkinson will inbound rather.
And Beck getting right up into Bailey in the backcourt here and causing her some headaches.
But she did finally get it over half court. As Nanai with possession turned it over. She sort of appeared to be in 2 minds. Goodchild, other end of the floor, does well, protects the ball and gets it off the window for 2.
Yeah, the turnover is really hurting Gladstone so far in this game, and just quick rush shots like that. So Frost lucky to come up with the O board. She was all by herself inside then.
Nanai with a shot. It's long. Kelman Poto with the rebound. Out to inside now to Atkinson off the pass from Frost. She gets fouled. She'll go to the line with Townsville leading by 2, 15-13, 4:25 left first term.
And look, Gladstone would be extremely happy right now, I would have thought. They've it's taken some good shooting to keep them in the situation they're in, but 13 points themselves at this point in the first quarter they'd be happy with. I wouldn't be convinced they're happy with the 15 points defensively.
And Lisa Brennan gets to sit down. Fowler and
Walsh come into the game. And Goodchild gets her first rest.
There's Tanea Atkinson at the line for 2, gets the first of those. And makes both, so we're tied up again at 15. Townsville with possession now, down the floor. Beck on Atkinson, blows by her, and then puts it away for 2.
Yeah, nice little floater on the front of the rim there. Just good pace in transition again.
Atkinson trying to make amends and does so at the other end of the floor. Nice work from Atkinson.
Look, and that's some pretty shoddy defense, to be honest, Tony. Like guard being able to get the ball and dribble the whole way down the keyway without somebody stepping in front of her. I'm sure that
the boss won't be happy.
No, he shouldn't be anyway.
Here she is again. Tanae Atkinson, and it's a charge foul called on her on this occasion. Good position that time by Michaela Cox. Draws the foul, and it'll be a Townsville ball from this side as we're tied up at 17 with 3:47 left first term.
Yeah, Coach Cooper a little bit disappointed with that. And look, to be honest, I probably thought it was a 50-50 call. You know, Cox did get some position, but I think I saw a little bit of leaning last minute. But again, you know, we won't get on the rest too hard about little calls like that.
No. Walsh, Beck, knocked away from a good work. Down the floor in transition, Atkinson, Frost, off the window 2, and all of a sudden Gladstone lead it by 2.
This zone's just slowing Townsville's running game down, so just causing a little bit of doubt and leading to lots of three-point attempts at the moment.
And here's another one coming from Michaela Cox. She converts this time, though. It's a very, very good look, though. She got a lot of time for that.
Yeah, did have a lot of time to look at that one.
And Kelman Poto was being harassed. Atkinson now with possession. Back out to Kelman Poto. Pulls up at the elbow with the shot. It was rushed, off balance, and accordingly missed. As Walsh comes down the floor in transition, Garvin goes inside to Fowler under the hoop and puts it away for 2. Townsville now by 3.
Yeah, look, great play by their Townsville. Fowler getting on the rim. Garvin, you know, rewarding her by getting that high post catch and then getting the ball to her on that deep seal.
Atkinson with possession now for Gladstone. She works around. It's a soft foul given away by Fowler. Bit of contact.
Yeah, look, just sort of went a bit half-hearted at that hedge on the on-ball screen. Then, you know, you've either got to commit to it and come out properly and cause some disruption, or you're just going to end up with little fouls off a bump there. So we'll see Gladstone go to the line here now with a penalty foul.
And we've got a couple of the home team with a couple of fouls against their name too.
Yeah, both Andrews and Brennan sitting on the bench with 2 fouls early.
And the first of those foul shots is missed by Atkinson. Misses both. And then Frost gives away. She got a lot of ball there, but a hands foul called on Amanda Frost, and it'll be a Townsville ball from the baseline. So no damage done there on that foul for Townsville. As Goodchild comes down the floor.
Gladstone in this 3-2 zone again.
And luckily gets the pass to Walsh. Inside they go to Fowler off the Garvin pass. And Fowler's had an impact since coming on from the bench.
And look, another great pass there by Garvin. Like any time a team goes to a zone, you want your bigs working together like they were just then. And catch made by one, the other one should be hitting hard the rim, and that's what happened.
Nano with possession for the goal for the Gladstone. Shot was short. It was swatted back inbound by Garvin, and then Gladstone turned it over to Goodchild down the floor in transition. Way it goes to Beck, and Beck puts it away for 2. We're tied at 19 not too long ago. It's now a 7-point Townsville lead, 26-19, with just on 90 seconds left first term.
And look, I think we'll see little moments like this through the game, Tony. It's just, you know, it's nothing, you know, that Gladstone's necessarily doing wrong, but it's just the depth and the athleticism of this Townsville group will wear you down through quarters, and you know, it's just about trying to limit that damage when they get on these little runs.
And a bit of hustle there too from the home team.
Angela Carey coming into the game for the first time tonight, replacing Darcy, getting her first blow.
And also Smith coming in for the visitors. So Frost with possession. Inside she goes to Nanai. Backing in on Carey. Draws the foul. Puts it away off the window, and she'll go to the line for a bonus. 26-21 Townsville. As we're going to have another change very shortly for Gladstone.
A good strong post move there. Just, you know, a couple of crab dribbles up the lane, board Carey out of a stance and then spun back to the baseline. It was a nice move. 11
points for Amanda Frost in the first term. The leading scorers for Townsville are Darcy Garvin and Goodchild, both with 6.
And Bailey comes back into the game for Gladstone here.
As Townsville have possession, leading by 4. Just over 60 seconds left first term. Walsh, Beck, Goodchild for 3 is good.
Yeah, look, Goodchild, you know, she had that game or so that she missed with the wrist injury that she picked up, and you know, probably took a game or two just to find her touch again, but was great last weekend on the road, and she's picked up where she left off there tonight.
Atkinson goes by Fowler, kicks it outside. Frost, that time it wasn't even close, and does well though. Picks the pocket of Walsh, but only slapped it in the hands of Goodchild. Walsh has it. Kerry. Walsh for three. Good work. 10-point Townsville lead, 32-22, and probably Gladstone don't deserve to be down by 10.
No, look, it's, you know, the Flames probably went through a bit of a stretch in there when it got back to level where they couldn't make a shot, and the back end of this quarter they've just made lots. So.
And the final one doesn't count, right on the stroke of quarter time. But at quarter time at Star FM Stadium, in the first of tonight's games, in the ladies' game, Townsville 32 lead Gladstone 22.
Yeah, look, and for Gladstone, obviously Frost has been their main contributor so far with 11 points, you know, 3 from 3 from the 3-point, or 3 from 4, sorry, from the 3-point line. So she's been fairly accurate. And, you know, you look at the Flames and their running games, you know, led to lots of contributors, but Goodchild's been sensational out in the open court, you know, made some layups and then went and made that 3 just before as well. So, you know, the game, when it's been played at that quick tempo early in that first couple of minutes and then again at the back end of that quarter, the Flames obviously opened up a sizable advantage, and it was that 3 or 4 minute stretch in the middle of the quarter where Gladstone just got it at their tempo. And that's going to be the battle for the rest of this game, I'm sure.
So 60% shooting wise as far as Townsville are concerned, but a couple of points I'll highlight. 11 points from turnovers, 18 points in the paint, 11 points off the bench for Townsville.
Yeah, look, and I think the points off turnovers is a crucial one. So, you know, Gladstone's already had 7 turnovers in the first quarter. You know, that's, you know, you keep that back down to 3 or 4 turnovers, get some stops out of those ones that you don't have, and then that 6 or 7 points may be gone, and you're then right back into this ball game. It's only a 3-point ball game then. So, you know, I'm sure their focus right now will be trying to look after the ball a little bit better, trying to make sure they get back into this zone and get their adjustments a little bit more. Be interesting to see if we see a change in the zone. It's all been 3-2 so far, and if they are going to play a zone, they're probably going to need to stick with that formula to make sure they can get out to the Townsville shooters. 7
turnovers in that first term. He doesn't have a lot of hair, the Gladstone coach. It'll be even less if that continues for the rest of the night at that rate. Back underway, second term. Townsville lead by 10, 32-22. Walsh, Cox, Garvin. Inside they go. Kerry just rolled over the front of the rim to go away for 2.
There's that big work again. You know, Garvin making the catch. Kerry this time instead of Fowler hitting the rim, and led to a good score.
Bailey for 3, got a good look and made it 2. For Gladstone, 34-25. Opening part of the second term. Kerry, left side it goes. Cox looks inside, he's got 2 bigs in there. Goes back outside to the big in Garvin as Cox pulls up for the 3 and makes it.
Yeah, look,
Walsh was worth the ball earlier.
Good patience there by Townsville. They just waited until they found themselves an open shot. Staying in this press, you know, continuing to try and make Gladstone to, you know, play a quicker tempo.
Frost on Kerry, and Kerry defended that pretty well.
Yeah, just the size probably got the better of Frost there.
Goodchild for 2, got a good look at it. It thought about it, but the goalkeeper did its best job of the night and knocked it away. Frost for Gladstone. There's Atkinson. As they slow it right down, Gladstone. Is this more their tempo?
Yeah, look, they're probably, I don't know if it's necessarily helping them, but Atkinson makes a good shot there. You know, they worked to try and get a switch into a matchup which she thought she could exploit, and got a nice pull-up jumper at the elbow.
Cox with possession for Townsville. Goodchild. Cox inside she goes to Kerry. Walsh left side, top of the keyway is Goodchild. The 3 doesn't go. Atkinson gets the rebound for Gladstone. And they work down the floor in transition through Atkinson, being harassed at the moment by Walsh. And then the help comes from Goodchild. She kicks it outside to Frost, who works away to the elbow. And the shot was rushed and then short, wasn't it?
Yeah, just a little shy there. Good screen in the backcourt there from Garvin, with Cox getting harassed by a couple of Gladstone players there.
Walsh, left 45. It's wide of the mark. She gets her own long rebound. Inside they go to Kerry. Doesn't drop. Atkinson gets possession. And the quick transition down the floor for Frost for two. 36-29. And there's a cheap foul given away by Frost. Not that she'll agree, I don't think.
No, I don't think the Gladstone bench agreed, but you know, we'll get on with it. And we see substitutions coming in here all over the place. So Andrews and Brennan coming back in for Townsville. So they'll need to watch their hands here, because they're both on 2 fouls and won't want to be going straight back to the bench very quickly.
Frost on 2 fouls as well for Gladstone. Kelman Poto came back into the game for Gladstone. Andrews inside to Garvin. Baseline Brennan for 2. Doesn't drop. Kelman Poto with the rebound, and we'll have a jump ball. It'll be Gladstone ball.
Yeah,
Arrow
just brought the ball down there, and Garvin was aware enough to get her hands on it and tie it up for the jump ball.
Inbound. Gladstone, and there's a foul given away by Michaela Cox there on Wilson.
And look, that's probably fairly consistent on what Frost's foul was down the other end, so the players surely can't complain about that too much.
Inbound pass ends up with Frost, who is the leading scorer in the game with 13 at the moment. Frost to Nanai. Atkinson with the rebound. She misses that. Kelman Poto gets it at a second chance. Here's Nanai off the window. Doesn't drop. And Townsville get it back through Hayley Andrews, and they work down the floor in transition. Here's Cox. Inside she goes. Garvin kicks it back outside. Goodchild gets a good look for 3. Doesn't make it. And rebound there is with Wilson for Gladstone. Frost, baseline on Cox. Gets knocked away from her, and it'll be a baseline ball for Gladstone.
Yeah, Gladstone just not quite rewarding themselves right here now, Tony. Like they've got a lot of offensive boards. They've had those second, third attempts and just haven't been able to convert. They've converted a couple of those opportunities. This would be back to a 3-4 point game.
Here's Atkinson, pulls up at the foul line. Nanai, Atkinson, Wilson inside, Kelman Poto. And some hands in there from Goodchild, and the foul's called, and very quickly, oh, that's only the second one. I thought it was number 3. It's only second for the term. And a change for Townsville as Stella Beck comes on for Goodchild.
Yeah, look, good sub, I think, that one. You know, Mila's missed her last couple of shots, and, you know, energy's probably just a little bit low right now. You know, Townsville's got all those guards, and Beck comes in, comes straight up with the steal.
That's a poor inbound pass from Wilson, as Beck has a look for Cox. And with the left hand, it doesn't go. Garvin with the rebound and the putback, and it's 38-29 in favour of Townsville.
That hurts when you're the Gladstone coach. You've seen all those O boards down your end, not being able to convert. Townsville get one and straight back in.
Atkinson on Cox, got in behind her there, and that's a tough basket made by Atkinson.
Yeah, plenty of contact there. You could have easily seen a foul called, but
Townsville then turn it over. Atkinson down the other end of the floor in transition. Again, a lot of contact. Again, no call. And again, 2 points. And she throws her hand up, a little dismayed, asking the question. The coaches, I suppose, rightly over there. There was plenty of contact on both the last couple of shots that Tanea Atkinson took. They both fell, and the referee put his whistle in his pocket.
Yeah, I think that last one, they were actually looking for a flop from Beck. You know, she probably did exaggerate the contact and was starting to go a little bit early. So the referee, Tom Jones, didn't agree with Cooper on this occasion, though. So, look, timeout by Townsville, and, you know, probably a needed timeout. Those couple of turnovers quickly. Atkinson getting to the rim a couple of times. You know, they need to just resolve themselves here a little bit. It's back to a 5-point game. I'm sure that Townsville would be hoping to have this thing well and truly in double figures by half-time.
So their shooting percentage has dropped away in this term. It was 60% at the break. It's now at 53. Mila Goodchild with 9 points is our leading scorer. Darcy Garvin with 8. That's for Townsville. For the visitors, the Gladstone Port City Power, Amanda Frost with 13. And Tanae Atkinson with 10. A lot of the load with those ladies.
Yeah, look, and we knew that was probably going to be the case, that those two were going to need to be, you know, the main focal points for Gladstone to stay in this game. And so far that plan's working for them, and they're staying close enough. And exactly what the assistant coach, Brady Walmsley, spoke to me about before the game is this was their plan, just to junk it up a bit, try and slow it down, resist the runs when they're there, and just try and keep this game close enough to be in the game in the fourth quarter.
Well, they haven't been blown away as yet, is it? It's just only the 5-point spread. So it's only it's a couple of possession at the moment as Darcy Garvin misses the 3 from deep. Atkinson had the rebound, had it stolen from her by Brennan, but it was stolen back by Wilson for Gladstone. Down the floor in transition, Frost with the fake. It goes back, and Nanai does very well.
Yeah, Andrews just got beat on that face cut then, and you know, those are the fundamental things you need to do defensively to try and choke a player when the ball's been picked up.
So we're back to a one-shot game. It's 38-35. Darcy Garvin makes it a 2-1, two-shot game now by putting that 2 away, and it's 40-35.
And every time they've had that high post catch, they've ended up with a high percentage shot and a good score. So they really need to try and keep working that high post catch against this 3-2 zone.
Atkinson for Gladstone. Kelman Poto, Frost. Garvin comes out, they double team her and take it off her. She just sort of almost handed it to her. And then does well almost to get the turnover at the other end of the floor. Darcy Garvin goes back outside to Brennan. Here's Beck, Cox, Garvin, Andrews. And there's a foul called on Frost. But it was, I know she was double teamed, but it was almost like, here, have this and I'll see if I can get it back off you at the other end of the floor, which she nearly did.
Yeah, look, good patience from Townsville. You know, there was probably 2 or 3, you know, quick attempts they could have made there, but they took the time to reverse the ball and then, you know, ended up of drawing that third foul now out of Frost, and she goes to the bench now.
Here's Andrews, Cox, Beck. Oh, that's too easy.
Yeah, the reversal, the little bit of movement by the bigs caused the zone to distort, and the C's just open for Beck just to drive straight through the middle then.
Parting of the Red Sea, wasn't it? As Gladstone have possession. Atkinson pulls up for the 2. It's long. Rebound gets taken away.
4-on-1 here now for Townsville.
Yep. Cox inside. And they pull up as Gladstone get troops back there. Garvin. And misses what she should have made, I would have thought.
Yeah, look, probably Townsville just all a bit on top of each other on that 4-on-1, and they probably took the wrong option, obviously. But credit to Gladstone for scrambling back and coming up with the stop.
Atkinson with possession. Screen set for her by Nanai. Atkinson goes to Nanai. Shot clock, a violation against the Gladstone Port City Power. And a couple of changes. Mila Goodchild comes in for Hayley Andrews, and Smith comes in for Gladstone. Back with possession for Townsville. Mila Goodchild. Cox inside, Garvin. Backing into them is Fowler. And she'll go to the foul line. It'll be the first opportunity at the charity for Townsville in this first half.
And look, if I'm Coach St. Maurice, you just got to really strip down at halftime and talk to the Townsville girls about working against his zone. Again, there, Garvin catch, Fowler on the rim, you know, that big pass. Every single time they've looked at working the ball, they've shot the ball okay from outside, and, you know, sometimes you get in that temptation against the zone of letting it fly. But there's the high percentage shots there almost every possession when they want to work for it.
Both made at the foul line. So Townsville's lead back out to 9. And they turn it over again, Gladstone, and that will be their Achilles heel. Goodchild puts the 2 away. Again, points off turnovers is hurting Gladstone big time.
Yeah, look, Wilson tried to be clever over on the corner when she was double teamed then and throw it off a leg, but didn't quite get the purchase on it, and Townsville got the leak out from that.
Atkinson with possession for Gladstone. And the 3-point attempt doesn't go.
No, but
Smith.
Good energy getting after the glass there from Atkinson. You know, could have let Garvin just come up with that easy.
14 points off turnovers now for Townsville. As Kelman Poto.
Very wild pass.
I know Bailey's short, but I don't reckon Smith would have caught that for them.
Yeah, look, I think you could have had Joel Embiid over on the sideline then, and he would have struggled to get his hands on that pass.
Beck, Fowler, turns it over. Not a good pass. Smith was able to get it for the Gladstone side. Bailey has harassed. Kelman Poto does well. Eventually they get it back to Bailey, deep in the corner for 3. And Smith does well to get the rebound. Bailey hustles, but puts a foot on the chalk.
Yeah, look, Gladstone, probably 2 or 3 of the last possessions have made the mistake of dribbling over into that left-hand corner and just leaving themselves open to the double team by Townsville. They dodged the bullet on that one, but you know, I'm sure Coach Cooper and Walmsley having a chat here. You know, one of their key points will have to be trying to keep the ball more in the middle of the floor against this press, just to try and relieve those pressure points they're going into.
1:21 left first half. The second term has seen the Townsville lead out to 11. 46-35, probably the equal biggest lead of the night.
Yeah, look, and high scoring as we know the Flames normally are. Gladstone doing a good job keeping pace for most of the game so far, and it's only an 11-point margin right now. So, Gladstone probably just need to really try and focus this last minute 20. 3 or 4 possessions left in this half. If they can come away and chip this down and get it just back to the single digits, they're probably going to halftime reasonably happy.
Townsville's biggest lead has been 12. We're just shy of that mark at the moment as we come back out onto the floor out of the timeout. It'll be a Townsville ball from the side in their own defensive end. And Cox has possession for Townsville. Goodchild. Cox. Beck. Garvin. Back left side. Goodchild. Cox on the baseline. Fowler. Garvin back outside. Cox gets a good look this time for 3 and didn't disappoint the home crowd. It's 49-35. That is the biggest lead of the night so far.
Yeah, look, good patience, good ball movement. Went through probably 4 or 5 sets of hands.
And again, they turn it over. Gladstone, will they get hurt at the other end? Mila Goodchild doesn't hurt them at the other end. Atkinson with the rebound for Gladstone. Down the floor in transition. She goes to take on Beck. There's some contact there, and it'll be a Gladstone ball from the side with the foul called on Stella Beck.
Yeah, probably just a little rush of blood by Goodchild on that last offensive possession. Came through the middle. She would have kept her eyes up a little bit. Cox was over wide open in the corner. After just hitting a 3, that's probably the pass that they wanted to make.
Inbound pass for the Gladstone side ends up with Atkinson. Guarded by Fowler. Frost, who's gone cold in this term. And then she puts 3 away.
Nice, Tony. Caught that. Yeah, nice. But you've just thawed her out right then.
Yeah. She was almost icicles. Beck, outside they go. Good ball rotation from Townsville. Garvin got a really good look over the smaller Frost and put the 3 away in her face. And
end of quarter there, Atkinson tried to burst through and tried to draw the foul on halfway, but look, good back end of that quarter by the Flames. Like, I think that probably ended up being a 20-16 quarter or 20-19 quarter, so it was fairly even through there. The Gladstone team will be reasonably happy, but we see the Flames now go into halftime up 14.
At half-time here at Star FM Stadium in Townsville, the Townsville Flames lead the Gladstone Port City Power in the ladies' game by 52 to 38. Styrofoam Stadium is the venue for the first of two of tonight's games, the first of two games tonight, that would be. The Flames lead Gladstone Port City Power at half-time, 52-38. Tony Parsons with Mark Roble. Mark, found out anything else?
Yeah, I managed to collar both coaches really quickly. Coach Cooper for Gladstone, he's been really happy with their effort levels. Really happy with their intensity about the way they've been doing things. Just defensive transitions, their focus. He talked about limiting the turnovers, as we spoke about in the first half, and if they can do that and get their D-trans right, they should be well back into control of getting themselves back into the game anyway. And talking to the Flames coach, wasn't really happy with their intensity defensively. 38 points isn't a lot that they've given up, but I think we might see some change-ups from them in this second half. We might see a little bit of zone, something different to try and disrupt Gladstone a little bit more. Obviously looking to try and force more turnovers themselves that they can go and run out of.
All right, well, we're about to get underway for this third term. Another interesting stat, and Townsville enjoy their biggest lead of the game so far, but bench-wise, Townsville have had some good contributions, given that we've had Andrews and also Brennan sit down for long periods of the game, both only playing 7 and 8 minutes or 8 and 7 minutes respectively.
Yeah, look, that's been Townsville's depth, most of the year. You got Walsh with 3, Kerry with 2, Fowler with 6, Beck with 6, all coming off the bench. And we see straight away in the third quarter coming out, Gladstone looking like they're straight coming back out into the zone again.
And Townsville with that first possession of the third term. Goodchild deep in the corner. Garvin, Brennan, Andrews, outside Cox, inside Garvin. Good work from Brennan. She was under a lot of pressure. Eventually it resulted in a turnover to Frost, but it was a heads-up play that didn't quite come off. Atkinson deep in the corner for 3 for Gladstone. That one misses. Goodchild gets the rebound for Townsville. She's down the floor in transition. Cox, she got a good look, thought about it, went inside to Garvin. And now here's Goodchild, and there's a no call there on the contact. Andrews, shot clock is in single figures. Cox, Garvin on the baseline, gets the 2 away.
Yeah, long 2 from Garvin there. Good patience, and then a turnover from Gladstone on the inbound. I don't know what was quite going through Bailey's head there, but she sort of straddled the baseline and had 1 foot either side when she threw the ball in, and gives easy possession back to the Flames, and that's really bad right there. Garvin just simple dive cut from the elbow and catch unopposed completely. Almost looked like it was 5-on-0 out there.
And it blows out's now 18, and the biggest lead of the night for Townsville, 56-38. As Atkinson outside to Bailey. Andrews with possession on the missed shot. Cox, Goodchild for 3. That one misses. Andrews, interestingly enough, got a rebound at the other end of the floor exactly the same way, but they couldn't put it away this time.
Yeah, missed the putback there, and should be very disappointed with herself there. And Gladstone come down, convert the 2, and just trim the lead a little.
Goodchild, Cox, Garvin inside. She heads baseline, and then again they turn it over, Townsville. A little untidy to start this third term.
Yeah, look, very untidy. They probably just haven't come out with the energy that they needed, or maybe trying a little bit too hard to follow some coach instruction.
Here's Frost, who was very good in the first term for Gladstone. Cross-court pass, Bailey. Nanai along the baseline and puts it away off the window for 2. Townsville, geez, they're trying hard to turn it over again. Goodchild, Brennan in game 100. Goes to Cox. Inside they go off Garvin to Brennan. And it's a 3-second violation against the hometown captain.
Yeah, look, they looked for that high-low look again. Brennan just a little bit too long in there, and referee Dover's pulled her up on that. But I must say Gladstone's energy defensively at the start of the second half, their talk in the zone, the communication's definitely gone up a gear from where it was in the first half.
Kelman Poto just lumbers down the lane and misses the 2 points off the window. Stella Beck's come in for Hayley Andrews for Townsville. Garvin for 3, got a really good look, missed it, and there's a clash of bodies there, and Lisa Brennan hit the floor quite heavily, and the foul is called on Nanai.
Yeah, look, just a little tangle on that rebounding contest. I'm not sure quite what has happened with Brennan here, but it's not good for her, obviously, playing her 100th game. He was giving me a bit of a hard time during half-time, but I will take this opportune time to give her husband, Luke Brennan, a little bit of a shout-out. He bailed me up as I was walking off, and he's here, and with the kids down there, probably a little bit concerned right now, looking down the court at his wife on the floor.
7:17 left in the third term. Townsville lead by 14. It's 56-42. And
so it looks like she's holding a wrist there, yeah, by the looks of it. Her arms, left arm's just being held a bit prone there, and you see the physio making gestures to try and move that hand, but I didn't see any movement as she came off.
No magic sponge, like the old days of footy. No magic sponge for him.
No, look, we'll see if the physio can work some wonders down there, though. But I've got a feeling that might be the last we see of Brennan for this evening.
Fowler comes into the game for Brennan. Beck, good child. Cox got a really good look for 3 and made it.
Yeah, good reversal there. Got the ball over the split line a couple of times, and that always distorts the zone. If you can get it to a third side, you're normally going to get an open shot at the end of it.
Bailey to Nanai to Kelman Poto for 2 off the window. In transition, Townsville. Beck on Bailey. Inside. Good work from Goodchild. Gets 2 more.
Nice little flash in from the weak side by Goodchild there, and Beck found her well.
17-point Townsville lead. Atkinson for the visitors with possession. Goes to work on Goodchild. Frost from very deep. Never looked like missing.
No, look, we had her scouted as a shooter before the game, and she's definitely living up to that billing right now.
Covered in war paint as they go outside. Here's Stella Beck for 3 rather, and gets the 3. Bit of contact there after the shot, but 6:04 left this third term. 64-47 Townsville.
Yeah, look, on Frost talking with Coach Walmsley before the game. He said one of the things that she's probably struggled with a little bit in this Australian League is the physicality of the play. So, I think you'll find as the season goes on, she'll stretch more towards that perimeter and maybe look for that outside shot a lot more than trying to get to the rim.
Atkinson with possession for Gladstone. Wilson off hands, ends up with Nanai. She heads baseline on Fowler, who does a very good job, and she turned it over. Nanai down the floor in transition for Townsville is Fowler. Cross-court pass. Beck on Frost, deep in the corner. Goodchild for 3. It's short. Rebound with Townsville momentarily. Stella Beck does very, very well to get it to Goodchild, who's manhandled by Kelman Poto and fouled and go to the line for 2.
Yeah, look, a great stream of possession play there, getting after the ball. Beck heads up play, seeing Goodchild slash into the rim, found her. And now we'll see Goodchild, that could have almost been pretty ugly there. She jumped over someone while they were on the ground, but now we'll go to the line and hopefully misses the first, but hopefully can convert on this second here.
And this is Townsville's only its second visit to the
Actually, it looks like there must have been unsportsmanlike called on that play, because the players aren't lined up and the referee ready at halfway. So maybe there was a grab off the ball on Goodchild as she went for that shot then.
1 of 2 made at the line by Goodchild. Townsville are 3 of 4 at the line. And they will inbound from half court. Garvin, Fowler, Cox. Garvin baseline, gets 2 more for for herself, and we'll go to the line for an extra one. It's now 20, 67-47. It's probably about where we saw it at the start of the night.
Yeah, look, it's that little bit of a slow start for Townsville at the start of this quarter, but you know they're out to now a what's that, 15 to 9 quarter so far, 16 to 9 now. So you know they're just pushing that margin out ever so much.
Wilson for Gladstone goes to Frost. Coleman Poto, Frost, Atkinson drives down the lane, comes at Beck. Tough shot over the top of Beck. Coleman Poto got the rebound for Gladstone and put it away. Garvin on Nanai, goes to Fowler. That's a tough basket from Fowler. 70-49 Townsville.
Yeah, look, a fair bit of contact there, and you know, good that Fowler could just muscle through it. So we see Gladstone pick up that ball in the corners again, almost getting themselves into trouble.
Nanai hit the underside of the backboard and landed up in the lap of Cox. Townsville down the floor. Good child. Wilson did well there to worry out of that. Garvin for 2 at the foul line. That one doesn't drop, where she's was like shelling peas earlier in the night for Darcy Garvin at that point. She got a lot of opportunities. That one didn't drop. And then another turnover by Gladstone, and all of a sudden the heads are dropping for Gladstone.
Yeah, look, I think we could see a timeout from Gladstone here fairly shortly.
Definitely heads dropping there as another 2 gets put away, and Townsville now lead by 23 at 72-49, and this term alone has seen it blown out significantly after it was a 20-19 second term.
Yeah, those last couple of possessions, the Flames were just up and down the court. Gladstone struggling to keep up with that pace, and you know, Nanai after that last shot attempt down on the offensive end, you know, didn't even muster up into a jog to get back on defense. It was a walk back. So, you know, there's a lot of fatigue in that group right now, and this is where Townsville really need to look to just turn that intensity up another notch, and this thing will be well and truly done by three-quarter time.
So 20-11 this term for the Flames, after it was a good second term for Gladstone, after an opening term that saw Townsville lead by 10. So a couple of terms here where it's blown out for Gladstone.
Yeah, just looking down at the Townsville bench here, I see Brennan. Looks like her arm's in a sling underneath her warm-up top, so that's obviously not great news for Townsville.
But she is smiling. Maybe she's got some happy gas.
Maybe. Look, they're going to need Brennan on the court over the next month or so, though, because only a couple of weeks away, the Flames will see both Fowler and Garvin missing for about 3 weeks away on Australian duties on the other side of the world.
And of course Andrews goes as well after tonight.
Yeah, so that's hopefully that's not a serious injury, and it's just some precaution being taken there for Townsville.
Atkinson will inbound for Gladstone. Frost, Atkinson. It's interesting you spoke about the physicality of the Australian League that Frost wouldn't be used to, or is needing to become accustomed to.
Yeah, look, it's not an uncommon thing with imports that come out from America, and you know, like the game blown very differently in different parts of the world. Australia, we tend to play a bit more of a physical league where, you know, ball handlers need to put up with a little bit more pressure, and it's not the, you know, soft, tacky stuff that gets called at times. You know, same as our Australian players need to adjust to that when they go away to international competition, where, you know, they sometimes end up in a bit of foul trouble, which they normally wouldn't be used to.
Now Wilson will inbound on the foul, the offensive foul on Magella Kerry for Townsville. Wilson, Bailey, back to Wilson, inside to Smith. Frost, Atkinson. Wilson on Fowler. Frost, Bailey. Bailey goes inside, and then, well, she was in two minds, obviously.
Nice deflection from Harriet Carey there. She's just come into the game in the last sub for her first minutes for the night.
Beck in the corner for three, rattles around, doesn't drop. And Smith with the rebound for Gladstone. Atkinson down the floor in transition. Frost. Frost on Fowler. Frost, bit of contact there on Cox, but puts it away off the window for two. 72-51 in favour of Townsville.
Just a little gesture to referee Jones as he ran past from Coach Cooper, I think, asking for the flop again there. So
Harriet Carey deep in the corner for 3. Doesn't go. Her sister got the rebound and put it away.
Yeah, put back there by Madge. So she's always lurking around the rim. I think we saw that last game. They were out on the court together as well.
Frost pulls up, shoots the 2. It's long. And then Townsville fighting over the rebound. They outnumbered Bailey 3-on-1, and Bailey got it for Gladstone.
Yeah, some poor communication there. I think all 3 went at the ball. One just needed to take command there.
Atkinson with possession now for Gladstone. Smith for 3. Long rebound with Fowler. And then again they nearly turn it over. Wilson not happy with it, but a pretty fair call, I think.
Yeah, look, I think Fowler breathed a sigh of relief that foul came then, because could have easily been a turnover, and those cross-court, back-court passes are probably something that we don't want to see.
Andrews back into the game for Townsville. Beck. Andrews inside. Carey. Back out to Harriet Carey, and then she turned it over.
3-on-1 for Gladstone here, a nice execution leading to the layup and foul.
Yeah, so Beck fouls Frost, and Frost will go to the line for a couple more. Oh, sorry, for one more. And that's 21, 23 points for Amanda Frost.
Look, good to see Coach St. Maurice giving some young chargers a bit of a run around out there at the moment. This group, obviously, you've got Beck out there who's only fairly new to the group, but all the other players have recently represented Queensland at, or Queensland North at junior championships this year, with Carey and Andrews, Magella Carey and Andrews both at the under-20 nationals, and Harriet Carey and Alex Fowler both at the under-18s in Geelong this year. So it's good to see this youth getting an opportunity out on the court.
Andrews. Fowler for 2. Got her own rebound, a long one. Gave it to Carey. He couldn't convert, so Fowler says, I'll have another go. Gets fouled, and she'll go to the line for a couple.
Yeah, good just possession play there again. You want your bigs. She only had, I think, a smaller guard on that rebounding contest, so Fowler muscled up and used her size to get the rebound, and she'll look to convert these from the stripe.
So Amanda Frost with 24 on 9 of 16 shooting and 5 of 8 from three-point territory. Leads all scorers. Carey nearly got the rebound on the missed second shot. Bailey, Frost, Atkinson, Wilson, Bailey. And that's not a good pass. Stella Beck just picked it off and went the length of the floor to put it away for 2.
Yeah, just a lazy reversal pass there, and Beck was attentive, sitting at the top of that zone that Townsville were in then.
Frost gets a good look for 3. It's long. Beck with the rebound. It's almost catch and shoot at the moment for Gladstone. Andrews for Townsville.
Townsville trying to just slow it down a little bit here.
Beck,
Frost and Beck going at it.
Yep. A little bit happening there. Andrews gets a good look for 3. It's long. And it will be a Gladstone ball with just under 19 seconds of play left in this third term.
Yeah, like a bit scrappy these last couple of minutes. Some players in there just a little bit out of rhythm, probably not used to playing together as a group.
Atkinson gets 2. And Andrews now for Townsville. Down the floor in transition. She's got herself into a bit of traffic there. And the referee obliges with a foul call for her. 4.2 seconds left in the term. Townsville lead it by 20, 76-56.
And Andrews will go to the line for the bonus here. Look, Atkinson, I've liked seeing some of the stuff she's done here tonight, and she's definitely done a good job trying to keep Gladstone in the game. I think one thing she could make her life a hell of a lot easier, though. Every drive at the moment, she throws herself onto the ground pretty much every drive, I think, trying to get the foul calls. But Townsville did a good job keeping their hands out, and she's just taking herself out of play for those couple of seconds.
And there's heavy contact in the backcourt there between Bailey and Fowler. But at three-quarter time, Townsville lead by 22. It's 78 to 56. But the story of the night for the visitors is turnovers. They've had 18 of those. Mind you, Townsville haven't been without their own, but I don't think they've hurt them as much because those turnovers have cost 23 points to the visitors.
Yeah, look, 10 turnovers for Townsville at this point, and I think, you know, you saw a good couple of those in that last minute or last couple of minutes of that quarter, but, you know, so we see a, what's that, 27 to 18 quarter there to Townsville, so, you know, Townsville just continuing to tick over the scoreboard with quarters of 32, 20 and 26. You know, they've done enough offensively. I don't think Coach St. Maurice will be extremely happy with the performance tonight, but he'll be happy enough to, you know, come back off the back of a double road trip. And, you know, last time they came back off that triple road trip, we saw what happened against the Spartans. So they would have had that in their mind this week, is coming back home and making sure they get straight back onto the positive attitude and get a good win.
Darcy Garvin has 20 points for Townsville. Off the Mila Goodchild with 14. Michaela Cox 11 off the bench. Stella Beck with 11 and Alex Fowler with 10. So good contributions from both the starters and the bench. We've got 5 in double figures, Townsville.
Yeah, and we've seen Townsville come back out now, just start of this quarter with a bit more of a veteran group again. You know, you still see the young players in Carey and Goodchild out there, but 3 WNBL players for the Fire coming back out into this lineup with Cox and Beck and Garvin ready to go.
And just about set for this final term. It'll be a Gladstone ball to get us underway for the final term. And Townsville lead by 22. Atkinson has that first possession for Gladstone. Wilson, Bailey, Frost, back to Wilson. Nanai inside to Atkinson, doesn't drop. Michaela Cox with the rebound for Townsville. Here's Beck. Garvin works right side to Cox. Carey back outside to Cox, finds Goodchild. Garvin on Nanai. Carey pulls up at the foul line, short with it. Garvin does a pretty good job trying to get the rebound. In fact, drew a foul.
Yeah,
on
look,
Nanai.
Garvin went straight up, and it's not often you see that foul call, but Nanai just backing up into her and, you know, taking her airspace away when she jumped up for the ball.
That's a turnover on the inbound pass against Townsville. Other end of the floor, Frost misses what she should have made. Under a little bit of pressure, but not great pressure from Michaela Cox, because Cox didn't want to give away the foul, but worried her out of it. Did enough.
Gladstone come out in a man D to start off this quarter, and it's just thrown a little bit of rhythm out for the Flames straight up.
And missed that shot, Townsville do. Bailey, cross-court pass. Frost on Cox. Wilson. Bailey gets fouled by Goodchild. And she realised she wasn't going to get there for the turnover and didn't have enough time to pull out, and the body contact.
Yeah, just got her balance a bit wrong there, and head got too far over her feet and ended up stumbling through, and nothing she could do there.
Gladstone with possession. Nanai on Garvin. Some contact there from Goodchild. And Nanai will go to the line for 2.
Yeah, look, good move there by
No, it's called
Nanai.
on Garvin, actually. Sorry.
Yeah, nice little move from Nanai. Had that high post catch and just got Garvin out of his stance with a shot fake, and, you know, got on the rim pretty quickly. So, you know, hopefully she rewards herself by making these 2 shots now.
Well, she gets the first of those. Misses the second one. Rebound. Atkinson grabs it from Garvin. 21-point Townsville lead. Wilson. Frost deep in the corner. Puts up the 3. It's long. And Hayley Andrews back onto the floor. Gets the rebound for Townsville. In traffic. And there's contact there. And it'll be a Townsville ball from the side with the foul called on
Atkinson. Just coming in from behind there and, you know, causing that contact in the middle.
Cox for Townsville. Good child. Andrews. Garvin, and puts it away. 80-57. Townsville lead it by 23.
And Townsville running one of their options there with the up screen, just trying to get Garvin on the catch in the low block in that one-on-one situation. She took advantage of it.
Foster's shot from three-point land missed. Wilson got it back, and they shooting the three, doesn't drop. Michaela Cox at the other end for Townsville. Good child. I don't think Good child was actually expecting that.
Yeah, look, whether she was expecting it, it just maybe just slipped out of the fingers at the last minute on the shot. She'll be a little bit disappointed with that, but Fowler coming back into the game here, so back to a more normal alignment, and you'll see Beck come back out to the perimeter now after playing in the 4 spot for the last couple of possessions.
Bailey for Gladstone. Atkinson. Frost. Inside they go to Kelman, and it's turned over by Kelman Poto. Inside Townsville go. Fowler puts it away. 2 more for her.
Yeah, good rim run. Had Bailey, the point guard, as the safety on her back, and found her well, and just nice finish at the rim.
Atkinson with possession for Gladstone. Kelman Poto doesn't drop. Fowler with the rebound for Townsville. Wrestled away out of some trouble. Garvin, Andrews, a little juggle, got it back to Fowler, and the 2 will count. And a timeout called by the visitors, with Townsville leading by 27 and their biggest lead of the night, 84-57.
Yeah, look, nice couple of minute patch there from Townsville. They just got that levelness back into their group when Fowler came back in, and players back into their more familiar positions, and straight away took advantage of that. Gladstone, you know, the last 6.5 minutes here, they'll probably just look to try and draw some positives out of the game. I think Coach Cooper obviously wants to stop this transition game that's just got running the last couple of minutes. That'll be key part of his focus, and to stop that, they need to have good shot execution themselves on the offensive end. So I'm sure he'll be looking to try and get some nice sets run here, get deep into the shot clock, try and make a good shot, and then jam the inbound or the rebounder if they do miss those shots.
8-1 this term for Townsville. You see that only points at the foul line for Gladstone. So 6:46 left in this final term. Townsville lead by 27, 84-57. For Townsville, Darcy Garvin leads their scorers with 22. Goodchild and Fowler with 14. And for Gladstone, there's 24 points for Frost, and then 12 for Atkinson, 11 for Nanai.
And Garvin will be happy because this has probably been her best performance at home this year. She's been very good on the road, coming off Player of the Week last week, and you know, should be happy to put another good performance in at home.
She's earned herself a spell too.
Yeah, Beck Vanderjagt into the game for her first minutes tonight.
As Wilson goes to Frost off hands. Here's Kelman Poto. Atkinson, as the shot clock went off and Townsville had possession. Andrews. Fowler gets the 2. Foul called on Kelman Poto, and almost a resignation there from Kelman Poto. But she couldn't have done much more.
Oh, look, Fowler just beat her for speed a little bit there. You know, she opened up the baseline, and nice little drop step in underneath. Made the 2 and converts the extra.
87-57. Continues to grow the lead. Townsville is now 30. And they turn it over to the visitors. Andrews off the window, doesn't go. Rebound is with Kelman Poto. Atkinson Works down the floor. Here's Kalman Poto hit the floor that time. The shot
that was Gia, her first minutes for tonight. And didn't hesitate getting a shot up as soon as she got in. So good to see someone coming in with a positive attitude after sitting and waiting for their time to get on the court.
Wilson, Frost, back to Wilson. Atkinson, here is Gear deep in the left corner. Atkinson, Gear. Long pass, Wilson, she's not frightened to shoot either. Doesn't drop. Andrews with the rebound for Townsville. Not a good pass. Although it ended up with Vanderjack and she got fouled and she'll go to the line for a couple. Yeah,
a little fortunate there. Fowler just got enough of a tip on that ball that it fell in front of Vanderjack, and yeah, she's played through that contact and now will go to the line herself. That's the 4th foul for Gladstone this quarter now, so they'll need to try and keep their hands out a bit here, finish off this game. Otherwise, Townsville's just going to live at the free throw line.
Vanderjack makes the first of 2. Harriet Carey comes back in for Townsville. Makes both of the line. 89-57. Lead continues to grow. It's now 32. And in this term alone, it's 11-1. Gear. Wilson. Harassed by Cox. Then comes to Vanderjack, who stood there like some tall timber and forced the turnover. Carey. Vanderjack. Back outside. Cox. Good look for 3. Long. Carey and Fowler fight over the rebound, and Carey ends up with it. And a little bit untidy.
A little bit soft on some of the passes right now, and low shot clock. Carey needs to get this up. Just gets it off to Cox in time.
And they get the rebound, Townsville, so they'll get another opportunity. Vanderjack, and again another soft pass.
Yeah, good activity with the hands there, causing some deflections. They know now that obviously every time a big catches it, they're looking for the other one, and got a good hand in the passing lane. Then come down, Frost knocks down the 3.
Now has 27, does Amanda Frost. Vanderjack for a long 2, doesn't drop. Cox attempted to get the rebound, doesn't make it. Atkinson, and off the window it goes for 2, and she'll go to the line for a bonus. It's 89-62, 23-point Townsville lead.
Some subs waiting for Gladstone coming in here. So Bailey and Guinea comes in for her first minutes of the night. Frost coming out, and straight after this free throw, you're going to see Atkinson come out as well. So Coach Cooper obviously just making sure that nothing goes astray in these last couple of minutes, which might hurt him for tomorrow night.
So Frost and Atkinson probably safe for tomorrow night from this point.
Yeah, look, you get to this situation, you just, I suppose, don't want the unfortunate things to happen. So
bonus is missed by Atkinson. Vanderjack. Both Carey girls are on now. Goodchild, Harriet Carey. And again, not a great pass. This one, Goodchild, outside. Andrews for 3. Went in, came out. Rebound is with Kalman Poto. Atkinson, who didn't come out of the game because that foul shot was missed, will probably sit down now.
She will make her way to the sideline now, and that'll be her evening done.
14 fouls now on Townsville as well, as Nanai comes back into the contest. And Nanai has it. Gear. Bailey for 3. Long rebound. Kalman Poto works hard to get it, but just throws it back to Townsville. Goodchild down the floor. Inside, Carey, Andrews. Harriet Carey for 3, makes it. 92-62, back out to a 30-point Townsville lead.
Nice to see Harriet Carey come in. She had a boom game early in the season. I think it was against Rockhampton where she came and knocked down 6 or 7 triples at home. And probably hasn't had that same impact in any game yet since then. But nice to see her come out, given that opportunity, and hit a nice shot. It was to see Andrews stumble over her own feet on the defensive end there, and Goodchild come down and just miss the simple offensive shot. But
and a little tip on the rebound from Harriet Carey to Vanderjagt, who then got fouled.
Yeah, so we'll see Vanderjagt back to the line again here.
A couple of changes.
Shayna Pacey coming in for her first minutes tonight. So again, great reward to see another young Townsville junior come out, and Hayley Andrews come to the sideline and all her bench teammates up on their feet, knowing that she'll now disappear for about a month or so until hopefully they get her back for finals.
First of 2 made by Vanderjagt. And both made. Wilson also back into the contest for sat down. Bailey, long 3. And she's the only starter out there for the visitors. Pacey, Vanderjagt, Pacey, 3, got a touch on it. Good work from Mila Goodchild. Got one across the Vera Lynn for a work, and we'll go to the line for a bonus.
Yeah, look, that shot from Pacey, I think, might have just got a little tip on it. Goodchild read it well off the hands, though, and showed great hustle, which she's known for, getting in after the ball as much as possible. So Townsville Fire had their golf day, though, this morning, Tony, and I can tell you one thing that Mila Goodchild is not known for is her work with a golf club in the hand.
Okay. So as a golfer, she makes a great basketballer. Is that what you're saying? As
a golfer, she makes an outstanding basketball player.
Pacey, Carey, Harriet. Nice work. Pacey. Goodchild gets a good look for 3. Carey with the rebound for the locals and puts it away off the window. 34-point Townsville lead inside the final 90 seconds. Here's Nanai over half court, off the feet of Wilson in transition. Pacey, and she gets fouled, and she'll have an opportunity to go to the line for 2.
So I think this could give the opportunity for, if Pacey makes one of these shots. Actually, Brennan didn't make a bucket while she was out there. Otherwise, this could have given the opportunity for every player to score for the Flames. We'll give Brennan a little bit of a side because she's gone off with an injury, but great to see again contribution across all the players from the Flames lineup.
And she made both at the foul line. Shayna Pacey. Gear for Gladstone. 36-point Townsville lead. Bailey a long way downtown and went in off the window.
I'm not sure she called bank on that one, but it doesn't really matter. So, good for her to get a couple of shots here. Hopefully she takes some confidence out of this, last couple of minutes into tomorrow night's game against Cairns.
Pacey inside to Carey, back outside. Goodchild makes the 3. 104-68. Townsville lead again by 36. Guinea goes to Bailey. Touch on it from Pacey. A little bit of hustle there, and it'll be an inbound ball for Gladstone from the baseline.
So this win will see the Flames stay on top of the ladder for another week. They're only the 1 loss, but joined on 1 loss, I think, by both Ipswich. I think that might be the only other team on 1 loss at the moment. So just keep themselves in a good position. Coming into a tough stretch coming up soon, though. As I said, a few players they'll be missing, and they've got the rocky Gladstone road trip still to deal with.
Pacey back outside, Carey, and she had a foot on the line there, so it's a turnover against Townsville. So they bust that trip, do they? The rocky Gladstone one?
They bust that trip, and it's not a very enjoyable trip, I can tell you from doing it back in the days as a coach myself. It is a bit of a long trip, but the trip home's always a little bit of fun. Tony, but you know, a few drinks normally had, and hopefully their drinks enjoying a good road trip as well.
Bailey for Gladstone. Turns it over. Pacey does well. Carey, Pacey. Carey rather, for 3. Doesn't go. Assister gets the rebound, can't put it away. But that is full time in the first game of the night. And the Townsville ladies have defeated the Gladstone ladies 104-68.
Yeah, look, ended up nearly out at that 40 points. You know, Townsville 104, they're probably happy with the way they played offensively. Sloppy at times with different lineups, but you know, you're never too upset when you put 100 points up on the board. The Gladstone team, you know, look, I think they can take some confidence out of some patches tonight, and I think if, you know, Coach Cooper finds the right little points to talk about, they can definitely challenge for another win. And I don't think, you know, while their record only has 1 win at this point, I don't think they'll go throughout the season getting another victory. I think there's enough potential there for them to get another win at some stage.
All right, so for Townsville, they're 104 points, and their leading scorer was Darcy Garvin with 22, Mila Goodchild with 20, Alex Fowler with 17, and we had Stella Beck and also Michaela Cox with 11. All players on the bench contributed in some way, shape or form, and the only player, as Mark alluded to just a moment or two ago, was Lisa Brennan, who only played 11 minutes tonight and only put up the 1 shot. It was the only non-contributor as far as the scoreboard was concerned.
We see Hayley Andrews get a good cheer from the home crowd here about, as we've talked about, disappear and have a little bit of a break. You know, she's been great for the Flames program over the last couple of years, coming out of under 18s into under 20s level. And now she's in for a very big culture shock, going from the tropics of Townsville off to a very cold Portland. And she'll definitely know about herself when she arrives there.
Well, at least she'll be going in summertime.
I don't think it's really going to matter too much at that part of the world. So right up near the Canadian border is the school that she's going to. So it'll be a very big change for her. And I know from experience being away with her at junior nationals in the past, she generally doesn't handle the cold that well. So be interesting to see how she goes over there.
For the visitors, the Gladstone Port City Power, their leading scorer was Amanda Frost with 27. Tanea Atkinson with 14 and Nanai with 11. But it's been a comprehensive win in the first game tonight to the Townsville Flames over the Gladstone Port City Power. 104-68. Back with the men's game just shortly before 8:30.